Man,
that
cool.
Team Liquid logo.
Yeah, that was sick. Did you do that on purpose? I liked it, man. He's like, no, I didn't do that on purpose. We'll do that every time. Yeah, he totally did. It's like, yeah, that was awesome. Alrighty, guys, in the left corner, actually, here, it is going to be DRG. As your blue Zerg player, very far bottom right, it's going to be Snoot.
That's right, and Snoot is kind of an interesting Zerg player, a player who's just as liable to be like, what sounds good now? Nidus Canal. I think that's what sounds good now in ZVZ. So
he has like a dice with like all the tech routes and he just throws it.
What am I going now? I have to wait for Ultralisks.
Yeah,
Darn it.
TT, I'll get it next time. I'm actually a little bit curious about Snoot. When he got announced for Team Liquid, he hasn't been doing so well in tournaments. I think it's because he's so focused on playing the normal standard meta game. And that's not why he was picked up for Team Liquid. He was picked up for Team Liquid because he's very creative, he's very fun, he likes to play the game and have fun with it. And I really feel like he's under the pressure of, I need to do well for my team. I just want him to go back to his roots, man. Throw in the crazy Nidus play, as you mentioned. Yep. Just be crazy, because that's what made you who you are, man. And with Heart of the Swarm coming out, he's going to be a little bit better at that. But I just feel like Wings of Liberty, he's trying to play just standard meta no matter what. And you don't have to do that, man.
The coolest game of IPL 5 that I saw was him against Life. I actually casted the one where he knocked him out. It was on Daybreak and ended up going for a Nidus play after being slightly down. Pulled it off perfectly and knocked out a guy who at the time I believe was the reigning Codes champion. So, I mean, that's insane. And that shows you what he can do. So Dongaku decides to go for a 14 hatch, actually going for that a little bit earlier. Snoot, on the other hand, 15 pool, so things are looking pretty normal so far.
Alrighty, so we're going to be having Snoot follow up with his own hatchery as well. You go the 15 pull into the 16 hatchery. Pretty standard. It's a strat you can actually pull off against Terran as well if you want to go that route. It just allows you to get the hatcheries up, and you do cut out, I believe, 4 drones overall, but still you get your expansion up, and it's pretty safe overall. So, gonna pull it off in the ZVZ. DRG will be aware of the hatch timing here. See that it is a little bit off, which should alert him that there will be a spawning pool in his opponent's main.
That's right. He'll be able to find that here in just a second. Queen and a couple of links are on the way now. Of course, Dongaku is going to have this spawning pool done is what, about 30 seconds from now? Yeah, about 35 seconds from now, he'll have that finished up. So there is a potential for these Zerglings to take map control a little bit, get a bit of scouting in before anything else hits.
Alright, so a couple of links now on the field here for Snoot. Looks like he wants to join it pretty heavily as he's only created a couple of lanes, it looks like. We'll be grabbing the middle of the map. Wants to put one probably outside of the natural. We'll have one run straight into the main. And from here, we're going to have a bit of a pass aside until we get to the mid game. We get some Banelings on the field. DRG's gone for a Baneling nest every time in his ZVZ, and then followed up into Roach in like mid game, but really likes to play the safer route when it comes to ZVZ. Links into Banelings and then follows up into Roach.
Yeah, absolutely. So he is going to get scouted by Snoot, though. Snoot, of course, getting in there, getting a little bit of scouting information, and going for something similar to what his teammate Rhett actually did. Trying to pick off a drone here, too, but won't quite get that. The Zerglings are going to be enough to chase him away. If you remember, Rhett actually ended up going for pool hatch and then bypass gas for a very long period of time before ending up going into mass drones, double evo chamber, and then Roach Ward. Now we see a little bit earlier gas for Snoot than we did for Rhett, but still a similar strategy taken.
Yep, it's popping out the queens, keeping the drones going. There is a potential that he could go straight into lair and just go Vita like super fast. With him having 3 queens, again, you can kind of deny your opponent from getting the natural, get that double evolution chamber up, as you were mentioning from Rhett. But getting that gas now, oh wow, he's going to get a growth with Roaches, completely throw out what I was talking about earlier. He has a Roach one on the way, and he's going to have slow links with Roaches.
Yeah, so kind of a crazy thing. This is, you talked about like anti-timings and things like that, being able to get in there when your opponent doesn't expect it. This would certainly qualify as one of those situations. This is we were talking about before that Snoot likes playing current, or not likes, but has been playing current metagame, trying to do well for his team, all that stuff that kind of took him away from his roots, as you were talking about. This is a very Snoot strategy, though. Let's try and get in there and get some damage done, and we'll see what he can do.
All right, so the big blob of lings are now heading across the middle of the field. DRG does see it. 18 lings have been queued up. Now the Roach follow-up is what's really important here. Only a couple being created here for Snoot. He's actually going for a +1 evolution, or getting evolution chamber, so we can go into +1 at the same time. So interesting. While he's going to have some lings running into his opponents, Natural.
Oh,
He's
no.
not going to have a strong follow-up.
Oh, and the problem was this was actually huge anti-timing for him, too, because he wanted to get in there and pick off a couple of queens, but not only did those lings finish up at the same time, but DRG was able to prepare for it, put the queens back on the ramp, and his own lings had speed whenever this all finished up.
Really weird here from Snoot. Just see the full aggression. He did a build to follow up with a lot of roaches, but I feel like, okay, there's an overlord outside of the natural, so he thought, maybe I'll just go and throw up and go into Evolution Chamber and lair and just put my lings in an aggressive spot. But wow, that really put Snoot behind. DRG, look at him, tech on the way up, has Roach Horn being queued up +1 at the same time, and following up the numbers of gas, getting his third hatchery. Geez, that was not very good for Snoot whatsoever. I like what he was trying to do.
Right.
He got really fearful about it once he saw that overlord.
Yeah, had he been able to get in there at the right time, pick off those queens, back out of there with a few lings or something like that, great, would have been fine.
Yeah.
Maybe gotten a couple of drones in the process, but he got none of that accomplished. And unfortunately finds himself at a significant disadvantage. His layers are going to finish up at about the same time. Roach Warren just finishing up for Dongagu, as you mentioned before, but of course he's critically far ahead on his missile attacks. He has speed for his lings. He's got really everything he needs in order to contend with Snoot from here on out.
All right, so from now, what's the plan here for Snoot? It looks like he's going to fall into a double evolution chamber here, get a second one popped up, so he can start moving into that carapace and kind of just hold on and hope for the best. And that's what you got to do. If you are behind it in CVZ, you go for the stronger mid to late game strategy, which could be Roach, Hydra, Investor, and just hope that your opponent can't really wear you down. But it's DRG, man, he's going to really start booming in units here. He's got a couple overlords on the way at the same time, so he can start pumping out his own roaches if need be, getting speed queued up at the same time as well. At this point, it becomes really imperative for DRG to keep these lings alive. He's even killing off creep tumors to make it harder for the expansion to go up, so the roaches can't come defend it if a third does go up. So DRG's playing this perfectly. He's keeping his opponent on 2 bases, grabbing that third while still moving up in tech.
Yeah, I mean, really everything's hitting for him at the moment, too. And you could see how kind of off Snoot was because he built the second evolution chamber back here at the back, intending to put down a second upgrade as quick as possible. But all of his gas that he's been using so far has been expended into other things. And look at that. Snoot going for pretty classic Snoot, though. It's a Nidus network. Hey, I'm way behind in this game. My opponent has every advantage possible. And he's going to try. And I imagine it's going to come down to this overlord here because it's well away from the creep. There's no vision there for Dongagu.
Yeah, it looks perfect spot there for him, actually. There is a overlord down at the third, but I don't think it's in range for it to be able to land a Nidus, and there are some outside to the right side. But perfect one would be there, one in the main. And it looks like Snoot will be going for that as he is popping out a lot of roaches. They're all moving towards that Nidus network as well. Got the queens blocking off the natural, so this cannot be scattered in any way, shape, or form. And he's even put the roaches outside of his natural third, so DRG might not be ready for this. He's got to be listening for that scream.
All right. Well, nothing's actually loaded up inside of the Nidus network yet, so this is going to finish up, but none of the units are in. There we go. Okay, all right. And this is enough that he can start letting them out one at a time. And here they come. The Nice Worms are out. All the units are retreating now for Dongagu, but he doesn't know where it was at yet. Now finally sees it, going to run into the main. And what can Snoot pick off in the meantime?
Snoot making plays here, man. Wants to go for the spawning pool. Has a few tagged onto the lair. Needs to be careful, though, as the roaches are moving their way up for DRG. And DRG only losing a few drones there, and it does spot the Nidus network. Spots the other one down here in the bottom left corner at the same time. And so DRG has caught the gig.
Yeah, and now it's going to be a lot rougher for Snoot to try and get any of this done because DRG is going to post himself at every relevant place where there could be Nidus networks and continue to just bunker up and get farther ahead.
Well, luckily for Snoot, he is kind of keeping up in upgrades, and by keeping up in upgrades, he's actually pretty far behind at like 160 seconds, but at least he's on +2.
Yeah.
So that's nice, being off of 2 bases. He needs to get a really good engagement on top of a ramp and try and snipe units before they're able to run up and keep pulling back and hiding to the best of his ability. That's the only way I can really see him making effective trades. The problem is DRG's moving into Infestation Pit as well, so Fungal will be able to land and really keep those roaches rooted.
All right, well, here comes Snoot now trying to do just what you were talking about before, pick off a couple of units and kite back. But the problem is Dongagu's already up here with an upgrade advantage, and he's already spread his units quite effectively. So Snoot is actually taking a lot of damage from this, and the reinforcements continue to move in for Dongagu. Snoot, though, has been able to draw it to even for just a little while and has now brought all of his queens up to the front for a little bit of additional damage and actually a couple of transfusions on top of that. So this was about as good as you could have hoped for, but you still see the power of those upgrades and reinforcements from Dongagu. He's starting to force everything back, and now he's killing queens.
Yeah, Snoot's just 2 behind, man. The roaches are coming across the middle of the field here, and for the most part, Snoot, again, he made a really good defense there. I was actually quite impressed with that. I didn't think it'd be that easy for him. But DRG is going to be forced to pull back, but there is going to be a lot of reinforcements hitting very, very soon here as he's going to go and group in the middle of the map. Let's actually look at the drone count. I want to see if Snoot's been able to catch himself back up, and for the most part, he's actually gotten ahead, 52 to 44. Can we do the workers kill count? Only 7 were killed. DRG really was kind of banking on that huge aggressive attack with +2, and it appears he was staying around the 43-44 drone mark. Wow. That was actually really good. Snoot actually somehow made his way back. I actually thought he was farther behind.
Yeah, we actually have a game again.
Yeah, I'm actually really impressed. That was a really good defense.
Now, he needs to find some sort of security to either tech or try and put on some economic damage to his opponent because he is still going to be behind. Dongaku has the upgrade advantage. He's going into +1 Carapace right now. He's got his infestation pit already done, even though he doesn't really have the gas or resources to be able to invest in that right now. And, of course, as soon as I say that, Pathogen Glance has started. But it's still going to be difficult for him to add on a large quantity of infestors. He's going to have to make cuts elsewhere for that to get done.
Well, Snoot, man, just playing the defensive game, stacking back a little bit. As his +2 does finish up, it allows him to get a little on the aggressive side, and he will do so. He's going to go ahead and move forward. And right now, even though +1 Carapace is on the way, he is actually effectively even with DRG when it comes to upgrades at the moment. Now, +1 will finish up a little under halfway done. So, Snoot has a good 80 seconds here to actually pop into the third and maybe get some damage done. Unfortunately, he's going to go ahead and pull on back, as it looks like he was afraid of the full blob of units that are in the middle of the map before DRG.
Yeah, so DRG pushing forward. As we can see, he had patrolling roaches pretty much everywhere. He's just checking for more Nidus worms and such. And DRG is actually going to push and get aggressive once again. He doesn't have any sort of an upgrade advantage now, so this actually makes the situation a little bit harder than it was last time.
Snoot again. Just going to try and sit on top of this ramp. Wants the aggression to come his way. Feels a little bit safer when it comes to defending his against his opponent because he has the queens available, and then of course the transfuses. And he also has the high ground advantage where he gets a free shot off when the roaches do run on up. So gonna go ahead and again prepare for this. I like him having 2 sets of roaches grouped up. They're not all on one hotkey. They're actually 2 grouped up in different scenarios. So it makes it a little bit easier for Snoot to get a natural concave.
All right, well, Dongaku now pushing through the right-hand side, another path up this ramp. You have to go through destructible rocks, though, and that does limit the amount of units that you can actually get up there. Looks like Dongaku is a little bit more worried about sitting back now. He's got his hatchery in position. He knows he's not going to be able to attack up this ramp, and he needs to find advantages in other places in this game. Now, the issue is, of course, is that Snoot's going to be able to instantly reproduce his army as well, and he's even got a few Hydras in here for a bit of additional DPS. Snoot not engaging with everything, though, and Dongaku's done a pretty effective job of hugging up next to him. But Snoot has quite a bit of DPS here. +1 Carapace did end up finishing for Dongaku, though. That's what he was delaying for. At the same time, Snoot's actually putting in another Nidus network down around towards the bottom right-hand corner. Snoot looks like he has enough to be able to hold this off up at the front, and he chases that away.
Wow, he's holding again, man. Just barely. He's holding these. He's getting this huge concaves outside of that top of that third ramp. And look at this. A counter-attack with the Nidus Swarm as Roaches will be running straight across the middle of the map. Will be running straight for the third. And he actually changes the rally point too, so those Roaches can deal with that fourth hatchery. Snoot making a huge opportunity here happen. Roaches do come back for DRG and should be able to clean this up. But again, DRG starting to sweat a little bit.
Yeah, trying to pick off those infestors before he leaves. Can't get the last shot on the second infestor. He does manage to pick off one, though, and actually doesn't even finish off this hatchery here. So not all the damage he wanted to get done, and in fact, just threw away a lot of roaches.
Yeah, I think what happened there is Snoot actually had his roaches on a hotkey, and when he actually got the aggression happen, he changed the rally point, so they go there. But when he was trying to pull back his other roaches to jump into that Nidus network, they all jumped in because they were all on the one hotkey. So I think that's what happened, unfortunately, for him, or he would have had that hatchery for sure. And
unfortunately, they're all sitting inside of that Nidus network for now. I don't see any other Nidus worms for the time being dropping down, although one could slip past my vision here momentarily. We'll certainly listen for the sound, if nothing else.
All right, drone transfer for DRG as he did save that fourth, so that fourth will be able to start mining up, and he will have that economy boost just a little bit longer as Snoot has to wait for his hatchery to finish up. But at the moment, both players are just moving up in, I guess, numbers here as they're going to be hitting 200 very soon.
Why does Snoot not take his units? Does he forget about his units inside of this Nidus network? That's a lot of units that are sitting inside of there, too. I mean, that's, what, 24 Roaches and Hydras combined between the two? If there's an engagement right now, Dongaku just wins this because he has so many more units. Everything's still sitting inside of this Nidus network. This is a huge error for Snoot.
Oh, Snoot with a small mistake. He makes 2 really great defenses overall earlier, and now making a mistake, and suddenly DRG has Roaches in the natural of his opponent, going to try and engage, and it looks like a really good concave for for Snoot is set up, but again, he's lost a good majority of his army.
Right. I mean, this is already past the point where he would have been at his most effective. Looks like he will be able to clean this up once again, but the problem is he lost way more than he should have. A little bit of economy has been lost now, a few more high-tech units than he wanted, and now he's sent back with 25 less supply.
Wow, behind this DRG will be reinforcing. He did poke off a few drones there. He made sure to focus a few off while he was in the opponent's natural, but Snoot is going for a counterattack and try and catch his opponent off guard. Is there any fungals available on those infestors?
Let me see here. Yeah, it looks like there are a couple new ones just end up popping up, actually.
Gotcha. I was wondering why DRG didn't land that fungal, because there was a huge group of roaches there. Snoot will get away, just barely, though. Behind this, he does get his 4th base, and now we have a really weird tug-of-war game.
Where's the Nidus network out, though? That's what I want to see. One did pop up, but I'm not sure where it's at. Didn't see anything inside of the main. Maybe actually... Okay, there is a kill on one of the roaches, so maybe that's where it tried to pop up.
Them Nidus networks, man. They die so fast.
Yeah, they do.
See them. Drone transfer happening now for Snoot. Again, just keeping the roaches in the middle of the map. And the real good story about Snoot here is every time there's an engagement, he really gets a good defender's advantage. He really knows how to exploit having a huge burst of attacks coming at a long line. It's really, really cool to see. He's done it, what, 4 times this game?
Yeah, I think so.
It's actually pretty impressive overall. And Snoot now just floating back and forth, trying to beat out DRG if possible. DRG at 200 supply to the 183 here of Snoot, as Snoot does move to +2 Carapace. Yeah,
once again with a nice upgraded advantage. Now DRG kind of has the perfect unit composition too. He's got the Hydras added in, and that was the one thing that was lacking that Snoot had carried before. But now with Fungal Growth on top of that and these Infestors, it's going to be a very difficult engagement for Snoot. He does get a very nice concave at the bottom of the ramp that is going to force DRG back up onto the high ground, and some energy to be expended from those Infestors as well. So very nice positioning from Snoot to begin that.
DRG trying to find another area where he can get an engagement, and it looks like he is going to finally get engaged. Roach is coming in the top left corner as well. There are some Hydras in the back not shooting. Now it gets them into the action as well. And Snoot, again, just grabbing a nice concave and moving forward with these Roaches on the left side. And these Roaches are now on top of the Hydras, which means the army for DRG is going to start plummeting. He's going to start reinforcing. But this actual fight, Snoot is going to win.
Yeah, Snoot wins yet another fight. He just hasn't been able to follow it up yet. We're about to have the entire map covered in Creep 2, which is just going to be cool because everyone has Hydras and everyone needs it. So it's kind of a mutual agreement between these two players. Okay, let's just keep that going for a while. But, you know, I'm waiting for one of these players to try and make a transition up into Hive Tech at some point. I think that could possibly break the stalemate. Snoot's done a good job of playing that defensive game of pretty much whatever you throw at me, I'm going to be able to stop. But there is an issue. Dongrigu does have better production, and he has been able to reinforce just a little bit quicker each time.
The thing for DRG is he's very minimal starved, and he can't really seem to justify actually going straight into Hive. I agree, I actually want to see Hive. But when you have to think, when you get the Hive finished up, all you're getting it for the +3/3 upgrades, but will you have enough resources to actually go for the 3/3? And
right.
That's kind of where they're both at. They both just don't know, can I really actually afford to move myself in a position to go up for those Tech 3 upgrades?
Ooh.
Look at this.
This is very risky from Snoot. He's down by about 20 supply right now, and he needs to get damage done with this, because if these units get thrown away, that is a critical error for him. Oh, the Fungal Growth catches everything. Perfect concave, and those units all disappear, and now all of a sudden it's a 32 supply advantage with Dongrigu on equal upgrades to his opponent.
Oh, both players so mineral started at the moment, just pumping up Roaches as much as possible. Now, of course, they can follow up with that gas and move it into Infestors if need be. But look at this, DRG's already at 200 supply to the 160 of Snoot. Should be getting aggressive very soon here. And he's floating around the middle of the map. Unfortunately, he just doesn't know what exactly Snoot is at when it comes to actual army composition, because if he knew that he was up 40 supply, you can bet your rear end, man, he'd be pushing across the middle of the map.
Snoot can start making some Infestors, though, and I think he needs them pretty quickly. I mean, they take a long time to produce, 50 seconds. Yeah, they're on the way now, so... but Dongrigu could very well attack by then, honestly, and he's going to be the one who goes for Hive first. So he's in a position where he's got a maxed out army, he's aggressive on the map, and it looks like he wants to go for this pretty soon. Snoot actually going to try and challenge this.
Wow.
This is awfully bold, considering where Snoot was before, and he immediately loses 10 supply.
That was actually really cool. Snoot, he had 3 Roaches dart in to try and get DRG out of position, because the units just naturally attack into them, and that means he gets 2 big concaves on the left and the right side, dishing out army as the army tries to get into a better position. That was actually really well done. The thing was DRG caught it and pulled back really quickly. It was a snap decision.
Oh, and this engagement is actually happening, but just as the infestors are popping up, but before they get into the engagement. A very nice concave for Snoot so far, but you see the sheer quantity of units that that MVP Dongrigu has brought to this fight is going to allow him to not just win this engagement, but crush it. He's up by 100 supply now, and it looks like, ladies and gentlemen, he may be on the verge of an all-kill of Team Liquid.
Yeah, Snoot is mineral and gas starved now at the moment. His hatchery is dead. Drones are being picked off as well. DRG getting ready to finish off his opponent. We'll be pulling back for a little bit, but effectively Snoot is already dead. He's on a main, natural, and third with very little resources. Actually, the main is completely mined out,
yes.
and the natural is very, very low at the same time. Looks like a counterattack could be a possibility here for Snoot. But that's really it. Look at these units. They're just pumping across the middle of the map. The economy for DRG is starting to soar up now as it gets to the 2,000 gas and 1,000 minerals. With the small patch of Roaches, this is all that Snoot can do. Once that's killed, that's the game.
Yep, and look at that. It's going to get killed.
All right, well, we're going to have small force in the top left corner at the same time, but DRG, man, looking like he is taking the series. Snoot calls GG. DRG coming back to win 5 games in a row, all kill on Team Liquid.
Wow. All right. So Liquid unfortunately going 0-3 in this tournament, but you know, I mean, they had a really great performance in team leagues of the past. I certainly think that they're going to be in a position of strength again in the coming months, and we certainly wish them the best of luck in the up and downs. That being said, though, MVP Dongrigu, what a boss!
Really, man, smash Regu, so man.
Yeah.
Usually you use him as an ace to finish off a series, but this time they just brought him out. They wanted to secure that second place in Group B. Good job, MVP. Well done, man. You got a strong player there. You got a strong roster, actually, overall. Team Liquid, I'm really looking forward to them for Heart of the Swarm. I really think some of the players are going to excel very well. TLO being one that he's been playing so well in Heart of the Swarm, so really looking forward to him exploding. Of course, Hero, Tasia, hopefully, if he gets everything settled with his wrist. I know he's playing in the GSL right now, but if he can get his wrist fixed up, that'd be really cool.
All right, guys, well, that's going to be it for our broadcast tonight. We'll, of course, be back tomorrow with more IPL action. Just a few weeks, though, until IPL 6, so pick up your tickets right now at tickets.ign.com. Come check out, we're going to have a 32-player Wings of Liberty event. We're going to have a 64-man open bracket for Heart of the Swarm, feeding into an 8-person championship bracket. We're going to have the IPTL Finals. All that's going to be happening live in Las Vegas at the Cosmopolitan from March 28th through the 31st.